Hey y'all, it's me, Candace, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Candace Effect. If this is your first time joining me here, welcome. This is a space where you're going to feel seen, heard, and possibly changed. Meaning, after we have this conversation, you might walk away with a different perspective. But if this isn't your first time joining me, welcome back. You already know what we do here. So, I want to say thank you to everyone that continues to come back. I start my podcast off the same way every single time for consistency. Start off with gratitude to everybody that's listening, that's giving me feedback, and just being here with me the entire time, right? This week, I received some interesting feedback from some people. It was a suggestion that I should name my listeners. Like, since you guys come and you're here all the time, especially for the ones that have been riding with me for episode after episode, somebody told me that after 8 episodes, it's called a series. I don't know if that's true, but is that a thing? Are we in a series of the Candace episode? Is it season one? Of the Candace episode because we're creeping up on episode number 10. Either way, I'm excited. Thank you for continuing to come back. Thank you for the suggestion, which I'm kind of open to. I would actually call you guys my people or my tribe, my family. I feel like once we talk and we meet, we are friends, right? That's how I feel at least. But what do you think? What do you think would be a good name to address everybody, to address all my listeners? I'm open to it. I think I'm going to put out a poll. Leave it in the comments, send me a message, tell me what you think, and then maybe we'll vote on it. That'll be fun and cute, right? But since we're here, let's have a little chat. I'm back home because I was down in Tennessee. Got my cute little hat. I've been on a little hat kick here lately. But I want to talk to you today about doing some hard things. Doing hard shit. And we're not talking about drugs here, okay? We're talking about everyday life. We're talking about goals. We're talking about things that you're scared of. We're talking about real life things, right? I've been in a position where people feel safe with me, talking to me, and I'm a safe place for a lot of people. Meaning that I have some friends and some people that have shared things with me that I get to have a different perspective and have all these different conversations. This week alone, I've been flooded with positivity and people just letting me know how brave they are, right? I have a friend that moved into her own place after separation. So she's learning how to create herself. She sent me a picture of her apartment keys and I sent her a message and was like, "Sis, I am proud of you. You are out here doing hard shit." Because people don't talk about how hard it is to start over after a separation of a marriage. I know what that feels like because I've been divorced. A lot of people don't talk about a lot of different things. I want to talk about my daughters, actually. One of my daughters is on kind of a weight loss journey. And hopefully, she doesn't get upset with me for sharing this. But she has come to a point where she wants to make some improvements for herself. And rightly so, like about being feeling better about yourself. She's a very pretty girl and she just wants to do better, be healthier, and just kind of get control of herself. She knows that working out is a peace of mind and she enjoys meal prepping, but it's just that she's so unfamiliar with it. So she's been scared about it. We made a deal, right? And some people might talk trash about this. The way I started my fitness journey years and years ago, it has to be decades, okay? Decades ago, I started my fitness journey by doing P90X. Raise your hand if you did P90X or anything in Beachbody. Raise your hand if you did Insanity, P90X, or anything else that they had back in the day for everybody that wanted to get fit quick, right? I personally started my journey with health and fitness on P90X. Me and my friends used to be in the living room. It was my sister, my best friend, Kyra, and me. We used to be downstairs as soon as the kids would get on the school bus or whatever in the living room, dying every single day. So when my daughter wanted to do it, she used to come to the gym with me, but she's just very, very shy. She's a very shy, quiet person. If you know her, you're probably like, "Who? Amaya? Quiet?" She is. Until you get inside. Once you're inside and you know she's not as quiet as she might seem. But Amaya's pretty quiet. She's very soft spoken in public. So all the things that she does, working with retail, and on my first episode, she was the one that opened up the episode by talking about her customers and her job. She actually works a retail job where she actually has to talk to people, help people go outside of her box. This is somebody talk about doing hard things. My girl used to be really, really hard on herself about even ordering food. So we would go places and I'd be like, Amaya, what do you want to eat? And she would stand behind me and be like, can I get such and such and such and such? And she got to a point where you were old enough to order your own food. I would step aside and be like, once I stepped to the side, she was stepping to the side, and she was always my shadow and in my pocket. So a lot of the things that she's doing now at the age of 22, they're courageous. Some people might say, "Oh, well, she's 22 years old and she needs to be doing this, that, and the third." No, sometimes people are fearful at 45. So I never push my people to do things that if they're literally saying that they're scared to do something, that means that they haven't done it before and it's hard for them. So I'm really easy on people. I kind of hold their hand when it comes to it. Some people will be like, you don't need to hold anybody's hand. They're grown, blah, 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 blah. But even grown people need somebody to hold their hand. I'm going to raise my hand because sometimes I really wish I had somebody to hold my hand. Personally, I wish I had somebody to hold my hand. So back to my daughter who's on her fitness journey. I said, okay. She said, well, mommy, I really want to start working out, but I don't want to go to a gym. I really don't. The gym's not for me. If I could start somewhere else and go from there, then I'm all for that? And I said, okay, well, let's do something like P90X. Is that even a thing? So we made a deal where I got P90X and I got all the equipment because COVID did me real good. Okay. When COVID came, I had every piece of workout equipment here and I train people. So I can take it and put it in my car and we can train in the park any way you want to. So talk about workout bench, bar, anything that you need. I have it. So it's always a dream for me when any of my kids are like, Mommy, can you help me with fitness? I sure can, because that's my thing, and I would love to help my children be great. So she has gotten to the point where she started meal prepping, which I'm so proud of her. She packs her own meals, she cooks her own food, and she does her own thing. Like she meal preps. So she has the diet part down. It's just the exercising that she wants to do. So she started P90X. Man, I know for myself doing P90X was the hardest thing. Like P90X was hard because I never had picked up weights before. And he's calling these exercises heavy pants and all this other stuff. It was hard as hell. So watching her have that experience, it wasn't funny to me, but I understood what she had to go through. She felt awkward. She felt like it was just really hard for her. And she got it done, right? I was proud of her because she completed it and she was just like, "Mommy, I hate this. Can I just wake up tomorrow and everything will be different? I want to be little tomorrow." No, you can't. You have to actually put in the work. So she's gonna keep doing it. And today she just called me. Literally, we just got off the telephone and she was talking to me about her experience with P90X. She was like, I actually feel my arms and my back hurts. I don't know if I'll be able to do that again. I said, well, you're gonna be able to do it. And next time it'll be easier, of course. And I said, well, are you gonna quit? And she was like, no, I'm not gonna quit. I'm just telling you that it was hard for me. She had no clue that I was recording already. So the fact that she was letting me know that something was hard for her and she wasn't going to quit was a big thing. It was a big deal because so many times in life, We all hit a wall sometimes when something's hard. And most of the time, when it's hard, what do? It's easy for us to quit. I like to share with you guys. I know I've discussed with you and told you that yes, I am a mom of six, and I've been a mom for in September, it'll be 30 years. Hard to believe that I'm about to have a 30-year-old. And then I also talk about my 5-year-old son. Insane. It literally is insane. But okay, I digress. Being a mom at 16, and I'm not really talking about just the experience of being a mom, I'm talking about doing something new. I'm talking about having a child and going into public and having the courage to just be somebody's mom. I did not know what I was doing at 16 years old. I had a great support system with my parents and family, and of course, my village of people, but I genuinely raised my son, right? I would have been a mother since I was that age, 16 years old. But was it hard for me? Yes, it was. You know what I did when I realized and it was all out that I was pregnant and all that other stuff? I was started taking Lamaze classes, right? With grown people. I'm in the Lamaze class with these people, and my dad was my coach. My dad and my uncle were my coaches in Lamaze. So they were talking about having a baby and what to expect. And I was so scared. And then when it was time to have the baby, have my sweet little baby boy, I wasn't as scared as I should have been because I knew what to expect. But nothing can ever get you ready for having a child, right? It takes a lot of courage to do that too. A lot of things that we do in life are really hard to do. Another quick story that I want to share with you is about my other daughter. She lost her teeth earlier this week, like maybe a week or two ago. She lost a tooth. And then as she's growing, of course, another little tooth got loose and she wiggled it out. And I told her, well, why don't you put that tooth with the other tooth since the tooth fairy hasn't come yet? So, no tooth fairy for a good few days. And finally, I realized the tooth fairy hasn't come. I have to save the day. Let me go ahead and get this tooth underneath this money under this pillow. So one morning, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I crept into her room like a ninja, going in there with this $20 bill to slide underneath her pillow. But I'm feeling underneath her pillow, and you guys should see me like I'm crouched over her as she's sleeping, trying my fighting for my life not to wake her up with me standing over her like, hi, hi, time to wake up for camp. But I was able to get the money under there, but there was no tooth. So I just walked away. And she came back the next day and was like, Mommy, did you put this money under my pillow? And I was like, No, I didn't put the money under your pillow. And she was like, Cause I know you were working with money last night, and I think you put the money under my pillow. And I think I danced around it, the conversation. It was time because we were rushing out the door to get to camp and just kept it moving. Phew, dodged that bullet, right? Well, yesterday, while we were getting dressed, she came to me and in her little hand, she was holding the bag with 2 teeth in it. Oh my gosh. Here we go. She's got the 2 teeth in her hand and she looks at me and goes, "Mommy, look what I found." First, I was surprised because if y'all could have seen how I was fighting for my life to find these teeth. I'm sliding my hand behind the baseboard. I'm looking around because there was no teeth. All of this while trying to not wake this little girl up. And I said, "Where was that, Rainy?" And she said, "Oh, it was on the floor in my bedroom." And I said, "Oh, okay." And then she said, "So you know what that means, right?" And I said, "What does that mean, Rainy, exactly?" And she said, "It means that you put that money underneath my pillow." And we looked at each other. And I said, "What makes you say that?" She said, "Well," and she said it again, "you were working with money that night and the tooth fairy hadn't come." And she paused and she said, "You can tell me the truth, mommy." A little 9-year-old says to me, "You can tell me the truth." And so I said, "Okay. Yes, Rainy, it was me. I put the money underneath your pillow." And she said, "Thank you, mommy." She turned around and walked away from me. I kind of chuckled because I didn't dive deep into the whole tooth fairy history and all this other stuff. She's in the fourth grade. The older she gets, then, things start to happen, dots start to get connected, and it works itself out, right? But what I realized in that situation is that she came to me, and as small as it might seem, that might have been a hard conversation to have because you don't know how that would have affected her. I didn't know, was she going to be devastated? Did she feel like I let her down? And her response was, "Thank you." I say all of that to say sometimes we got to have conversations. Talking to my sister this week, and I hope you didn't think that I was going to get out of not talking about my sister because we have such great, rich conversations. We were talking about handling problems before they come bigger problems that you have to handle, right? And we used the analogy about a snake and a dragon. So if you have a snake crawling around in your yard, it might be a little teeny snake. And a lot of people are afraid of snakes just because I don't know why, because snakes are snakes. That we're supposed to be scared of them, right? You have a snake, and the best way to kill a snake is to chop its head off. And we were talking about chopping snakes' heads off before you got to kill them before they grow, kill them before you let them go. You can't let them roam around in your yard because all they're going to do is cause chaos, right? And scare everybody and all kinds of things about snakes. But imagine if a snake could turn into a dragon. You don't deal with the snake. You step over the snake. You do everything to avoid the snake. The snake continues to grow. And essentially, the snake turns into a dragon or a huge just monster. At this point, you still have to slay that dragon. You still have to kill it, right? But in that aspect, now it's a bigger deal. It's a bigger problem and it's a bigger fight. We came up to the conclusion that you can't let things grow. Meaning you can't let evil grow. You can't let snakes grow. You can't let your fears grow. You have to cut them off. You have to kill it before it grows. Because eventually, guess what? You still gonna have to slay the dragon. It goes along with the whole analogy of what's done in the dark always comes to light, which is true. No matter how much you try to hide from things and you can say that things are hard to deal with and sweep them under the rug, eventually you will have to deal with it. And it's hard dealing with tough shit. Like it's hard to get over things. It's hard having conversations. It's hard setting boundaries, but guess what? It still needs to be done. So, unless you want to run for the rest of your life, you gotta learn to cut snakes' heads off. You gotta learn to look yourself or whoever in the eye and have hard conversations, no matter who it is or no matter what it is. I think about, and I will continue to think about, like, I'm blessed that I have a daughter that has such a great, soft heart. For her to come to me and say, "Mommy, you can tell me the truth." It it shows that she's also gentle, right? She's gentle with the fact that she wanted to know. No matter what, she wanted me to feel safe too. She didn't have to do that. She did not have to say, "Mommy, you can tell me the truth." Because why? Because it was about her. Because she could have essentially been like, "My mom betrayed me." But she didn't look at it like that. She looked at it more so like, I told her the truth and I didn't let her down because the tooth fairy didn't come. Small thing, but yes, it's a big thing. If you think about it, it's not always gonna be easy to tell the truth. It's not always gonna be easy to just have certain conversations, but you have to be able to do it. Because if you don't, if you always avoid and we always run, guess what happens? The problem continues to grow. And then now it's a bigger problem that you have to deal with. I'm proud of everybody that's opening up and doing new things and doing big things and doing things that are hard. And I'm not talking about just going out zip lining or getting on the bus for the first time or just small things. I'm talking about, I know people that are out here crushing big things. 2026 has kind of been rough. It's kind of looking like 2024 a little bit because some people are really, really going through it. I understand. And if I could give you a hug, I definitely would. And if nobody's told you recently that they're proud of you, let me, Candace, be the first person to tell you that I'm proud of you for doing hard shit. I can give you a list of things that I've done in my life that I feel like are hard things to do. Walking into a courtroom to get a divorce, super, super hard. Because whoever wants to get divorced when they get married? Not me. Nobody can give you a playbook about how that feels. Of course, you can get a playbook. Of course, somebody can tell you how it feels to do certain things. But how hard is that? It's hard to do certain things. Nobody tells you how hard it is to be a single mother. Learned how to do that too by myself. Being a single mom, that's not an easy thing to do either. I went from being a mom that was in a marriage and everything was like so perfect and it was teamwork to being a now divorced who also is now a woman who's a single mother with two separate situations. One of these days, I'm going to dive into it and I'm going to share you guys and be a little bit more transparent. But without having to go all the way into my background, it's easy for me to be able to talk to people and be like, I understand. I understand these things. I understand where you're coming from because I had to do it too. And nobody was holding my hand when I went through it. As a matter of fact, I was in a circle of people that had not experienced some of the things that I've experienced. Was in a circle of people that, yeah, sure, my friends were married, but they didn't know about divorce. And then also was kind of taboo. And then also on top of that, my situation with my kids was also taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it, or it's hard for people. I was not in those circles. So now knowing the things that I know, I can genuinely tell you that it's not easy to wake up and do things that you're afraid of. But sometimes in life, you have to do hard shit. If nobody has ever told you, I'm proud of you. And I'm going to say it one more time. I am proud of you. I'm proud of you for starting something new. I'm proud of you for hitting your goals. I'm proud of you for continuing to be great. I'm proud of you for waking up in the morning when you feel like you can't do it anymore. And I'm proud of you for taking the little steps to change. It's not going to happen overnight. If it's a problem that you have that you're facing, a conversation, something new that you want to try, go out there and do it. Because guess what? It's never going to be easy to start something new. Go out there, do some hard shit, and just be great. And I'm going to do another disclaimer. We're not talking about hard shit as far as drugs goes, okay? We're talking about hard shit. Zip lining or bungee jumping or whatever, cooking a 5-course meal, whatever is hard for you, that's hard for you. My heart doesn't look like your heart, and your heart doesn't look like my heart. Some people are on different levels of what they can take and what they call hard and what they don't call hard. Don't judge. Don't criticize. Don't feel bad for the things that you've been through, and don't feel bad for the things that have made you who you are. Don't be ashamed. Just get out there, continue to do hard things, and continue to strive for greatness. But I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for continuing to come and listen with me. I'm so excited about everything that you're doing. I'm so excited and I can't wait to hear about the stories about all the things that you've done. And I want to know, what do you have planned for the rest of 2026? Like, I want to know what you've already accomplished for 2026, but then how are you going to close it out? Are you going to do some things that you thought that you couldn't do? Are you going to start something new? Are you going to close some doors that need to be closed? Whatever you need to do that's going to bring you peace and bring you to a place of happiness, go do it. And tell me about it later. I'm going to close by saying be good to yourself. If you found out that this message was a good one and you want to talk about it, hit me up in the comments. Share it with a friend. Like, subscribe, do all of those things. Continue to come back. And until we talk again, peace. Be good to yourself. Enjoy the summer. See you later.